Hey, what's up, everybody? Dr. Advantage coming to check back in again. I know it's been a while since you've seen our last update, and I apologize for that. But things have been crazy. Coronavirus pandemic's been going on. Hopefully, all of you guys have been staying safe, been staying healthy, and hopefully we can kind of move out of this thing pretty quick and get back to a little bit more normal. So a little bit of update. What have I been doing the last year and a half? Pretty much been doing my primary job. Most of us on this channel, we have our own primary jobs that we have. Blackjack and really just advantage play is more of our secondary incomes. So what does that mean? I've just really only done one blackjack trip in the last year. And a little bit interesting fact about that is that I went to Minnesota. And I ended up finding out that even with a face mask on, they can still identify you if you're in things like OSN. Privileged enough to have a buddy that has an account with OSN that's able to give me a little bit of information about it. And yeah, I got an update my last trip when I was in Minnesota. Never took the mask off, never took a drink as far as I can think. And they were still able to identify me. So if you're in some of these databases, a mask is not sufficient enough to keep you from getting another update. Kind of unfortunate, but at the same time, I have a little bit different perspective on being in a database anyway. A lot of this stuff, I still think that even if I were to show my face now, I still think that most of these casinos, even if they started recognizing me, for the most part, unless I got to 5 million subscribers, most of them are still probably not going to know who I am. And even if they do recognize me, a lot of people say they card count. A lot of people say they do it and they're good at it. So I think more than likely, they're probably going to end up saying that, we're going to let him sit on the table for a little bit anyway, and we're going to see if he can actually count proficiently. So kind of a little bit different perspective. And yeah, so if you guys thought that using that face mask is going to help you from being identified, sadly, you're going to be a little bit mistaken. But let's see, what's going on beyond that? Really, just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update and plan for the channel moving forward. As you can tell, we have not been very consistent at posting, and I'm really sorry for that. I think moving forward, that's going to get a lot better, and we have kind of a new strategy that we want to do, and ultimately, we want to really start getting really good content out there to you guys, good video quality and everything like that. So the easiest way that we're going to be able to accomplish that, because this is kind of a secondary job for all of us here, we're going to end up doing actually reaction videos. So there's enough content out there now of all these amateur blackjack players, MG21 and Slot Lady. Those are really the two that I've seen videos on. I got this idea because I see so much of their basic strategy errors that I thought it would be a really cool series where we could actually have kind of a beginner level series, intermediate, and then advanced series. So the beginner level, it's only going to be going over basic strategy. So basically we're going to be kind of following along, and we're going to be pointing out all their basic strategy mistakes. So that for a lot of you that are learning how to count and aren't ready to, count high-low or high-opt, whatever count system you're using in the casino, this will be good just for you to practice your basic strategy. There's a lot of times where you're going to have 2 9s versus 7, and you're going to be like, crap, I can't remember what to do here. It makes it a lot easier when you're able to see it and you're able to have somebody that kind of is able to kind of cue you to the correct answer. I know that's how I learn really well. Everyone that ever tried to teach me how to do basic strategy, they always told me, make flashcards of everything. Make a flashcard of how do you play ace 9, how do you play ace 8. And I tried doing that. I was terrible at it. I was not really able to learn it. What I ended up doing is I ended up just looking at a basic strategy chart, and because I'm such a visual learner, I was actually able to see very quickly that there's a pattern to the madness in just kind of how the blocks are all designed. And that was what enabled me to honestly teach myself basic strategy in about 5 minutes. I memorized it super quick because I was able to kind of make that mental picture in my head. Haven't forgotten it since. So I think that'd be really cool, where you can see a lot more and not see us talking as much. The other really cool thing is that it's all going to be kind of one take. So you're going to kind of see that for the basic level, it's going to be basic strategy and just kind of making the correct play. Also giving a little bit of critique. Just because you're not a professional blackjack player does not make you a bad person. But at the same time, I don't like seeing arrogance when people aren't professional players either. Specifically MG21, super arrogant player, talks about doing this for a living. So we're gonna kind of, while we're going through his video specifically, we're gonna kind of show you his mistakes and what he's doing right, what he's doing wrong, and kind of give you our opinion on what we think, as far as like what he tells his patrons, his subscribers that are kind of watching him week in and week out. So now intermediate. So intermediate's kind of phase 2. That's going to be just basic counting, right? So we're not getting into deviations or anything crazy like that. But this is going to be where we try and teach you, like, while the live game is happening, we're actually teaching you how to make things a little bit easier so that while you're counting and trying to follow along, we're going to start giving you tips to kind of make things easier for yourself so that ultimately you can save brain power. One of the things you're going to notice from counting, especially when you start getting into the casino, is that when you're first doing it, you are using a lot of mental energy. You're going to be so fatigued after a couple hours of doing it. It's going to feel like you worked an 8-hour shift at your job. You're going to get better at it, though. That's something that will improve as you kind of continue to go on with it. Don't worry about that. As you keep practicing and keep repeating this process, you're going to notice that things get a lot easier and a lot quicker, and you're not using nearly the same brain power. So you end up doing these 8 to 12 hour sessions, and yeah, you feel fatigued, but it's like a normal day at the office rather than just, being totally burnt out that you need to sleep for the next 10 hours. It happens when you're first getting into it, believe me. So that's going to be our intermediate phase. And for our advanced phase, that's going to be where we ultimately get into counting with deviations. So there's a lot of deviations. Typically, the only ones I recommend is the illustrious 18. If you want to learn the additional ones, go for it. I think it's important that you focus on just getting good at basic strategy and counting and those 18 deviations, that all the extra ones you're going to learn on top of it, they're just icing on the cake. They're not giving you a lot of increased advantage. They're not putting a lot of increased money in your pocket, just because you're not going to see them a lot. So like the ones that I kind of think of when I end up seeing them is you have ace 3 and ace 2 versus a 4. So most charts aren't really going to show you that deviation. But I mean, they're ones that you can end up learning, and they ultimately are very intuitive, and they start making a lot of sense for you, and you're able to kind of process them quickly. So ace 3 is going to be at a true 2 or higher. Ace 2 is going to be at a true 3 or higher. That's when you're going to do those deviations versus a 4. Pretty straightforward. But yeah, so if you want to teach yourselves more deviations, go for it. Like, don't feel like you shouldn't, but at the same time, they're not really the most important. If when we're going through these videos and I actually see one of those opportunities for one of these deviations, I think it'd be really cool to kind of point it out just so I could show that, like, hey, this was one of those times where you actually put more money in your pocket if you were doubling or if you were splitting this situation. So that can be really cool. But just know that if you're learning anything beyond the illustrious 18, you're not going to see those deviations come up very often. So don't feel like you need to put a ton of mental energy into it. It's a really cool skill to learn, but at the same time, it's not the most important thing in the world, okay? So that's really what we want to do. The other thing is, I understand that this is kind of how we've always done the views, or we've done like using a mask to do our videos. What do you guys want us to do? Still don't think we really want to do all the face cam stuff, just because, we want to try and stay hidden as best we can, even though, we have our opinions about some of that stuff anyway. We're still probably going to go with the community and just kind of keep ourselves kind of under wraps a little bit. So do you want us to do, when I'm doing like the reaction videos, do you want it more of like this torso cam? Do you want me to just wear like different masks and I don't know, just kind of make it goofy or something like that, but something a little bit different where, it's not just looking at, my shirt all the time. Let me know what you think. It'd be really cool. And especially, with this crazy YouTube algorithm, right? I guess having comments and stuff down below is pretty good to help us kind of grow so we can actually reach a greater amount of people and ultimately try and help more people get really good at this counting thing, because it's really not that hard. Yes, there is a lot of strategy that goes into being good at it, but at the same time, anyone that ever tells you that this is something that you have to be really smart to do it, they're lying to you. It just takes a little bit of practice, takes a little bit of dedication, and you'll be able to do it just like I did. I taught myself how to do this in school. It took me no more than about 45 days, I would say, before I was actually probably casino ready, playing a really good game. So it can be done. You don't need to get too crazy invested into these notions that you got to be a genius to do it. Okay. So with that said, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Tell us your opinion on what you think of our reaction video series. If you think it's a bad idea, let us know. If you think it's just not really something that anyone's going to like, I'm okay with that. I would say just kind of let me know what you think and just give me your take on it, and we'll be in touch pretty soon. All right, we're just going to get our setup ready, and yeah, hopefully we have videos within the next couple weeks. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys enjoy the series, and hopefully you enjoy the ride at just becoming better advantage players. And yeah, let's go take some money from these casinos. You know, now that they're opening back up again, it's time for us to go take a little bit more money, myself included. I have a trip planned next month. I have a trip planned in December. And then we have another one planned at the end of February, early March. So I plan on taking a lot of money. Hopefully that means you guys are going to want to take a lot of money. We'll also do a lot of those vlogs on the road too, just so you guys get to see a little bit more of the live action play too. Let us know the highs and lows of it, because you're going to know, and if you've seen some of our other videos, you're not always winning when you're counting cards. But at the same time, you are going to win long term. I can promise you that if you have a good game. So I'll talk to you soon. And this is Dr. Advantage signing off.